Garret blows your socks off. We have a crisis situation. Red alert, red alert. Stinger has crashed. That rescue helicopter is recovered. Stinger.
What the heck?
No showing progress. Continue on the
Prepare for launch.
show them what you've got.
Roger.
Alright, hello and welcome back to Let's Play yet another no-name MAME game. Today's no-name MAME game is, of course, Gallet. And you know how sometimes when you just boot up a game and it's like, you just know it, you feel it in every single fiber of your body, that it's just going to be a good game, an awesome game. Well, that's what this game is. Did you not see that intro sequence? And then the Gallet knocks your socks off. It'd be funnier if it wasn't actually true. So, first button is a shoot, and hey, I don't even have auto-fire on. They were just nice enough to have it default to auto-fire if you hold it down. Second button is, well, a bit of a rave party of a bomb. Third button, fourth button, nothing. So basically, it's a standard shoot-'em up. Although, I will say, if you look at that... Oh. And now the auto-fire firing beast rears its head. Alright, so the game, it kind of tricks you. It does like kind of the fake auto-fire thing. Like some games, like they'll sort of do an auto-fire if you hold down the button, but it's really a trick. They want you to tap it. I don't know, it's a giant conspiracy on game makers' part to give everybody carpal tunnel syndrome. Which is actually remarkably short-sighted, because then nobody would play video games. That doesn't make any sense. Not all conspiracy theories have to be rooted in logic, you know. In conspiracy. Otherwise, well, we've got a nice, like, spread shot. And it's like, the spread shot, I feel, is one of the best. Because, I mean, when you're, like, a screen full popcorn and just the sprite work. Just the work that went into this game. I mean, these sprites are amazingly detailed. You can just feel it. Just when you see it, it's kind of amazing, really. And it definitely makes up for the fact that the game is a little bollocks. Because, I mean, you see the shot pattern, I don't know, it doesn't quite feel fair to me, the shot pattern. And plus, dude, this is like, what, stage 1, the boss? Well, I was gonna ask, like, why are we fighting a space shuttle? And then I look at the vague acronyms on the side of the shuttle, and I'm assuming they're supposed to be the Soviets? Well, there's a little star, but... SSDF. The Super Soviet Defense Force. Whoa. Wow. I mean... weird. So, you don't... I mean, you're seeing that, shooting this pattern where it's like the guy just kind of down at you, and... that's not very typical in my experience. I don't...
Congratulations on completing stage 1.
Yeah, most... Seems like most other games, when they go for shot patterns, yeah, it's usually more of like the single shots or like kind of straightforward laser beams that all come at you, but that guy's thing, it was like... they shot out and they started homing at you. No, it doesn't really. Nobody ever really seemed to like use that as the default. So, and I mean, again, this game was made by Banpresto, I'm guessing, and I'm assuming that it's like no one. Oh, wow. And then we even have a little option that you might not have noticed, just kind of spinning around and shooting everything in sight. Okay. Oh, he only rotates when you move. Which, I mean, if I wasn't moving the entire time, would be a little more bothersome. But that's interesting. But I mean, yeah, so this game is made by Banpresto. And I'm half guessing that, I mean, I'm pretty sure they used some sort of external developer, but I mean, I don't really think this was made by any of the big players, so it really feels like it's kind of a unique game. Like, I mean, a lot of games kind of ape each other after a while, but this game just doesn't really feel like any other game. And I mean, not many other games would even put as much, like, emphasis into certain things that this one does. Because it seems like this game puts a lot of emphasis into making the sprite work here like amazing. And that you can accomplish with like giving the spriters more time, and just telling them they like not leave the room until they come up with an amazing product. But it seems like it kind of comes at the expense of gameplay, or like some sort of hook, gameplay-wise at least. And I mean, I realize this kind of predates the era of bullet hell, where it's like each bullet hell game has its own unique scoring gimmick, and the games are at least half defined by their amazing art and their difficulty, as well as their little gimmick. And I mean, not every game in this era kind of has it, but at the same time, the gameplay is a little disappointingly generic. I mean, the weapons are kind of cool. I don't think the spread shot was around so much. Well, I mean, the spinny shot guy.
What the
Oh, wow. I do love that the character on screen says, "What the heck?" I'd say it too, but that'd be a little redundant. Eesh. Wow, they really like the bullet streams that kind of feel a little fluid. Like, you saw that I sort of moved and then the green one kind of tracked me, I think? Or at least one of them did. I might not be imagining things. No? Okay, it was the red one, wow. And the red one just kind of fluidly follows you. It's pretty cool. Oh. I wonder if it's just coincidence, but the bomb does kind of look like the spinny shot weapon. Oh, wow. Oh my god. Talk about the beauty, though. I mean, at first I thought it was just, like, sort of the beauty of, like, still paintings, but if you look at the Eiffel Tower, they rigged it so that it kind of parallax scrolls. Which, it's a little baffling that they... Well, okay, I can kind of imagine why they wouldn't do that for, like, the entire background layer. So, like, the cars scroll and everything, that would... You need a supercomputer for that. But that was an amazing effect with the Eiffel Tower thing.
Everything's okay.
And I'm a little surprised that they do kind of focus more on, sort of, like, the kind of painting sort of beauty of a video game rather than, sort of fluidness and action thing. Like, some video games, they kind of look amazing, just, like, still shots. But then, other video games, like, you just have to see it in action to believe it. And some games, some magical games, can really kind of do both. Unfortunately, this game is kind of a bit more of a still shot game. But I mean, that Eiffel Tower, though, that was amazing. You know, everything has its exceptions. There is the old saying, the exception proves the rule, which makes complete sense. Unless you think about it. Lots of things are kind of like that in life. Ow. And I mean, so 90s games, well, okay, 90s games came after 80s games, duh. But what that really means is that 90s games had, like, superior technology, and, like, not even just the superior crawl of technology, but they had technology that, like, made things just complete. It was a complete sort of revolution in graphics, at least. So it's kind of interesting. And then 80s games, like, that you could actually sometimes slow them down if you put too much stuff going on. It's crazy. They have, like, almost no graphics. But when you get a 90s game to slow down, that's actually really impressive. Because you can do, like, a lot of stuff on the 90s or arcade machine. So, I mean, that this game, like, sometimes it does slow down, but that's not really, like, anything you can knock the game for. That's amazing that, like, they've put in so much detail that you can actually slow it down. I guess it is a little disingenuous of me to critique the actual gameplay feel when I can't really dodge anything. Although I will say, like, it feels like the patterns, they didn't quite intend for you to dodge them. Like, some games, you can tell there's, like, care and craft into, like, where the bullets are placed. Yes, mostly bullet hell, modern age bullet hell games. But still, I mean, like, games like this, you can tell there's sort of, like, a lazy way of handling it, where it's like, you just put a bunch of bullets on screen, it's like, yeah, screen's filled with bullets, it's good enough. Let's slow down. I'm not even sure if it's the emulator or the game, but either way, it's about as impressive. Because, I mean, not a lot of things make the emulator slow down. Although I will give amazing props to the music so far. I mean, it's been chugging along in the background like a champ. It's not quite the superstar that the graphics are, but I think that's just because it's humble. It's too humble to be a superstar, not because it's any lacking. And this is a very important thing. The background music, it's in the background. Like, you can just listen to me talking. It's not even trying to steal the show. Oh, wow. So, I mean, okay, sprites. They're like sprites, right? Well, what you can do with sprites is you can combine them to make sort of a bigger sprite. And that's what they did with this boss. And, I mean, that's what they did with the Eiffel Tower. But you look around, and then it's doing, like, things are moving independently of each other. Oh, wow. It's actually kind of weird that they spent, like, so much time in just making, like, everything beautiful, like a painting, and then they didn't do more, like, graphical tricks, like sprites on sprites on sprites on sprites, because I think they could have done some amazing things here. But yeah, I mean, for evidence that not everything is like the Avatar, look at that warehouse on the right. It's just flat, it's on the screen. That's not quite so impressive. Weird, its bullet pattern seems to have gotten, like, drastically easier. It seems to have given up, in a sense. And now we're back to this pattern? I thought we were past this. Okay, that's... wow. I think it also doesn't help that your shot is, like, glowing bright orange. And it kind of drowns out the, sound now. It drowns out the, sight of their bullets. And plus, I don't really think it helps either that the ship kind of glows like a firecracker every time you hit it. If that didn't cause some people to seize, I don't know what will. At least I hope it's flashing for you. It's the little technical details where sometimes things that flash for me don't quite flash for you.
Congratulations on completing Stage 3.
Sometimes you can define, like, just how beautiful a game is by how beautiful their explosions are. And those were some pretty good explosions. I wouldn't say they're, like, perfect or anything, but those were nice. You could feel the fire just billowing into the sky. And I mean, you might take explosions for granted, but explosions are actually an integral part of the shoot-'em-up experience. I mean, think about it. Look on screen. Count how many explosions you see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Knock the door. There were tons of explosions just going on all the time, and yet it's not really something you notice actively. It's just kind of something you take for granted after a while, but there's definitely a right way to do explosions and a wrong way to do explosions. And the circle shot is really rather disappointing. I mean, it just doesn't seem to quite have the power. So yeah, earlier on I was saying that, like, the spread weapons in games are always the best, and that of course requires a couple of caveats, because it depends game from game, like how powerful it's going to be. So if it's, like, super powerful, then yeah, duh, no brainer, you should go for it. But if it's kind of a shot where it's like, it kind of feels like a pea shooter, like you can shoot things over and over and over and over again and they still won't die, that's, I don't know, that's no good. Wow. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I think of it more as massaging a dead horse. These graphics are amazing. But again, it's kind of amazing in sort of a still painting sort of sense. But man, if you took a still picture of this game and just showed it off anywhere, that would be art. Oh, back to the spread shot. It kind of depends if the spread shot is, like, strong enough to destroy everything. You kind of look at, well, in thinking about this game, it actually doesn't really seem like you're all that powerful. Because, I mean, I keep shooting everything I see, but I don't really destroy a lot of things. I mean, I destroy the tanks, but come on. What 90s shoot-'em-up can't destroy tanks by the dozens? Oh, okay. A little shot things kind of change what they are based on time. So we're doing it kind of right-end style. So, yeah, okay, maybe we're starting to borrow techniques from other shoot-em-ups. And okay, I'll admit, the game, it started out amazing. Like, that intro sequence was probably the best part of this game. And I mean, after a while, you kind of set yourself up for disappointment. You see that, and you're like, oh my god, this game is going to be the best shoot-em-up I've ever played. And then you play it, and it's like, this is the best looking shoot-em-up I've ever played. That rockin' boss music. Alright, back to playing the game.
Power up!
Oh wow, just how it goes into that melody with that synth.
Power up!
Dang. Yeah, I mean, you could sort of dodge bullet patterns like this by rocking left to right, but... I mean, the way they programmed it, it's not doing you any favors. Oh god. And then, yeah, sometimes they do have, like, this stupid little turret there. You see, he's, like, sniping at me. And usually, when things shoot at you in a shoot-'em-up, they're not quite as accurate. If you ever complained playing a shoot-'em-up is like, well, why aren't they just always aiming for me? Well, that's why. Because they'll always shoot to kill. No, I mean, hit you. It's just like a little explosion. Bullets. Oh my god. I looked at the sea and I was mesmerized. Just look how it's like transitioning from like just a couple sprites like one to another, and yet they're making an amazing sea. I wonder how often I've taken the sea in other games a bit for granted. That's a neat little trick. And I mean, with sprite work, you can do a lot with a little. I mean, that's like... Well, okay, it's probably like 20 frames. They spare no expense in this game. But it's still pretty amazing. And we run into the interesting paradox where as you go further along...
Congratulations on completing.
We run into the interesting paradox where it's like, the further we go on through the stage, the easier the boss becomes. This music just makes me want to do like no firing run. Pass this one.
Power up!
Okay, it's a little more repetitive than I thought it would be, but it's still pretty catchy. Oh, there we go.
Crazy missile!
Did you say crazy missile?
Power up!
I could just listen to this music for days. And a lot of these games you can. Well, actually, no, that's not true. A lot of these games you can't listen to their music for days. So a lot of arcade games are beeps and loops. And it might seem like the unfair stereotype of parent, but sadly it's a little true. Their little jet streams at the top made them sort of look like they were little horned devils coming in there. Neat little things that you see when you stop paying too much attention to things. When you see things as other things rather than the things that the things are. Oh my gosh. I thought I was safe. It's like, yeah, I've dodged everything, and then all of a sudden they just explode on me, and it's like, well, I guess I didn't dodge everything. Oh, wow. And then that castle sunset. Oh my god. And then we're back to the boss beat. Well, because Because, I mean, I can see why people don't compose, like, multiple boss themes. Just because, I mean, that like, doubles your work, basically. But, I mean, it would be kind of cool if you had, like, maybe not necessarily a different theme for each boss, but it's like, it got more and more intense. Like, you could even change up the orchestration, where it's like, you start adding in more and more instruments as, like, you start getting to the harder and harder bosses. It would be cool. It's just like an idea, I guess. For no one in particular, I suppose. Just kind of the idle musings of, oh my gosh. Do you see those clouds? Maybe those are even cockpits. I don't even know. Okay, who are we fooling? Let's just bomb him. Oh, and then we sort of have like a nice parallel. How are you supposed to dodge that? Let's stop pretending. But yeah, you do get some nice parallax scrolling with those like floating islands and then the land below, or maybe we're over the clouds. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the perspective of the shot is, but it's still beautiful. I really do wish they had gone more into parallax scrolling, because parallax scrolling, it really just adds so much to a shoot 'em up. To just kind of see like everything scroll at slightly different speeds as you move along. It's amazing. Like, you start going from a still work to a living, breathing, well, almost as if on cue, we get to the obligatory, hey look, we did parallax scrolling stage. And I will kind of say, I wish they had put this stage in sooner, so it's like I wouldn't have to complain for so long and like, kind of give them flack, when in reality, they did do it. I don't know, I mean, if you're gonna do something good, you should at least get credit for it. I mean, come on, I want to give you guys credit for this. Dang. Duh. And just as quickly as it started, it ended. It is picturesque, though. I suppose that's both a complaint and a criticism.
Power up!
I really hope there's like some way you can just download this game's soundtrack. Like, I mean, a lot of games you can just download a weird BGM file. My preferred way is to open Winamp, download like that. It's not really a sketchy pack of. Dang it! Just when I got to the spread shot. It's not really a sketchy pack of okay, it's like there's this packet of codecs or whatever for Winamp. And then it's all for like listening to chiptunes from like various systems. I believe VGM is included. And I assume that's the one default to arcade games? I'm not entirely sure about that. But anyway, you download it, you listen to it, and it's like, you hear video game music basically as it was meant to be played. Or like, it'll loop as long as you want. I mean, it is the actual music and it's being played, sort of. It's close enough for the real thing. It might as well be the real thing. It's called Air Gallet, huh? Or Aku Garrett, as the case may be. Wow. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. It's like the way you pronounce things in Japanese and you write them in English. And I mean, it seems like a lot of them, it's like you should probably have a better organization than that. Like Aku Garrett, I feel like you can actually write. Oh. That didn't happen before. Well, you know, before when I said the spin shot sucked, take it back. That is awesome. Come on, I want a boss already. I've got to use these things. It's kind of like money. It's burning a hole in my pocket. Gotta spend it all right here, right now. See? I wasted my life, and I waited for it to go. Nice! They even blast through things at the beginning. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit everything on screen, but hey, when it's just a boss, you just gotta take it up. That is awesome. And I have all of them again?
Power up!
All the power. So I guess all of their feeling of power was hidden in this game's bombs. Oh, come on. Well, again, who am I fooling? Was that it? Is this the final level already? It wouldn't be a final boss if it didn't give you nightmares. Oh my god, yeah. Well, it'll give you two kinds of nightmares. The kind that renew your faith and the kind that, make you never want to play a shoot 'em up ever again. Oh my goodness. Did you see every single one of their little nodes, like, fired at me simultaneously? And just like all angels inevitably do, they turned into skulls. Now they're trying to kill us. Hey, 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 I'm pressing the bomb button. Oh, the bombs are on the left, the keys are on the right. That's disappointing. I thought I constantly had like 4 bombs. Which would have been awesome. These bombs are pretty sweet.
Power up!
You'll never defeat Andross. Actually, the first time I saw Andross in Star Fox... Well, okay. There are 2 forms of Andross in Star Fox 64. I hope that's not a spoiler. One of them is a disembodied brain and eyeballs, and that actually freaked me out as a kid.
Congratulations on completing Stage 6.
Stage 6? Oh, you really lose track when you stare at pictures. Fighter bonus.
Mission completed.
You did it! Don't let down your guard before landing.
Roger. Okay, Johnny. I'm gonna take a nice hot shower. Yes, sir. You deserve it. Right. See you later.
Actually, a little surprised that they turned this into a video game and not just some sort of anime or something. Because, I mean, the highlights of it were, like, the visuals, like, the dialogue, sprite work. Can you imagine a sprite-based anime? It's kind of one of those things that it's like you imagine it would be awesome in your minds, but then you think about it a little and you, like, actually see one and you're like, it was better in my mind. Oh, you can move up, down, left, right. The cursor's a little slow, but this is a pretty nice... Oh, you can't go diagonally. This is a pretty adequate name entry screen. Who the heck is CNT? Well, that was Aku Garrett. And if we wait long enough, we'll get to hear the Aku Garrett knocks your socks off thing again. Oh wow. It really is a lot better when you can just, like, stare at it. I mean, there's no real parallax to speak of, which is a little disappointing, but hey, you have
Aku Garrett blows your socks off.
You at least had the Eiffel Tower.
Presented by Banpresto.
Oh, that's it? Come on, you guys made like Sailor Moon and a dozen other quality anime. At the very least, you can include an animated intro to your awesome-looking arcade game. Especially, too, when like a lot of what you were going for was like amazing visuals at the expense of other things. So, well, I mean, you saw it. It was amazing. Well, on that note, this cat's got a scat. I said, this cat's got a scat.
socks off.